Hi folks. Right, so we had a look at this previously in another video where I unboxed it from the sender and had a look at the games that came along with it. And I did say at the time that I was going to revisit this in a later video, looking at just sort of restoring it, giving it a good clean and that kind of thing. I think the eagle-eye viewers among you will have noticed that there's some damage to the front screen, the lens, you know, the glass, whatever you want to call it. It's got lots of different names. So I think that's the first thing we need to do, is to have a look at this, see if that damage is just on the surface. I think it is, I hope it is. And we'll have a look at sort of getting it cleaned up and bringing it back to something close to its former glory. So the first thing we're going to do is get these screws out and get it into 2 bits. Okay, so again, regular viewers of the channel will spot that I'm using these drivers that come with, well, pretty much anything that you buy from eBay shops and AliExpress that come to do with Game Boys. And to be fair, do you know what? They're not always that bad. But I tell you what, just after opening 6 screws, just taking 6 screws out, my wrist is already starting to cramp up. It's showing the signs of aging there. So I'm going to go and dig out my electric screwdriver very shortly, perhaps when we come to put it back together. Anybody that's never taken a Game Boy apart and you're watching this for a bit of a tutorial, once you've taken the 6 screws out, just be aware there's a ribbon cable under here. You just sort of need to very gently wiggle it free. It should come out quite easily. That connects the screen to the motherboard in the back, so just be aware of that. Now, this is in pretty decent condition. There's not too much, there's barely any sort of corrosion on the back there. So really, I'm not actually going to take this out today. I'm going to leave it in, and we're just going to give the rear of the case a little bit of a scrub a little later on, perhaps with some IPA. I'm not really intending on completely disassembling it and bathing it, because it's not in that bad of a condition. The only thing that I really want to do is have a look at that screen on the lens on the the front screen. So for now, we're just going to have a look at taking the rest of these screws out and getting that sort of front part off. Okay, so we've got all these the screws out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now we're going to have a look at popping this out. Now there is a little bit of glue that holds this board down. So we just need to be careful. Obviously we've got a bit of glue underneath, and we've got these sort of, what do we call them, legs, these mounting pin type things, just to make sure that, this is quite a sticky one. We just need to be careful when we take this board out. Sometimes it comes out easy, sometimes it puts up a little bit of resistance, and we can see it's starting to come. We don't want to force it too much. There we go. So the moment of truth. Right, it doesn't look too bad. It looks like there's a small mark there, but it's not as bad as I was expecting. Yeah, it's not too bad. I think we've got away there with without something. I'm not sure if you can hear, our dog is saying hello there in the background. So we'll just pop those out, and again, like I've said in the past, the glue on these things tends to dry up over time. A little bit of funk there, and usually they'll pop out with minimal force. Although this one, the force is strong in this one, and actually it's putting up quite a bit of resistance. I wonder if this has been off before and somebody's decided to perhaps super glue it down before sticking it, they've stuck it back on themselves, which is a big no-no. Not using super glue, because it can just do lots of things. I suspect these marks here, I don't know if you can see the discoloration, is perhaps where they've used some sort of glue. It really is putting up a bit of a fight, but there we go. Yeah, we can see, look, they've used some big blobs of glue, and it's actually left the marks on the case itself, which is a bit of a stinker, shall we say. So what's my original plan was just to sort of pop that off and pop a new one on and not bath it too much. I think we're going to get this backboard off, the motherboard out, and I think we're going to go for a full deep clean. Okay, so we just gently lift out the board, just being careful not to break any wires that are connected to this extra board. Power board? Drop me a comment. Just clear it up. Pop out the switch. You can go to one side. And the last little thing we've got are these battery terminals. And again, sometimes they pop out really easily just by gently popping down with the screwdriver. There we go. There's one out. Sometimes they can be a pain in the bottom. Actually, I'm not even sure if I got that one on camera or not. Apologies. So we see we've got the little clip there. We push down there and it gets it out. And I'll just demonstrate with this one. So we just try and apply some sort of forward and downward force at the same time. There's two. So in, forward and down at the same time. And it pops out. Actually, that one's got a little bit of corrosion on it, but it's nothing too bad. Right, I'm going to clean this work area. We're going to get ourselves in with a nice bowl of warm water, and I think I'm just going to pop them in, soak for a little bit, just to see if some hot soapy water, I don't know, maybe a bit of hot soapy water will get under there and at least give us a fighting chance of getting some of this rubbish off. You won't be able to see it once we put a new lens on. However, there is like a degree of height difference there, which will cause it to not sit flush, and we don't want that. I don't want to have to start sanding. I have got some spare shells from old projects which I may pull out, but we'll see. Okay, so let's get the hot water and let's give it a little bath.
A few moments later.
Okay, so we've had this in soak, just in some plain old hot water with a bit of fairy liquid. Other cleaning substances are available, and well, let's take a look, shall we? Let's see what's happened. Absolutely nothing. It's not really managed to do a beam at all on that super glue. But never mind. While it's in the old fairy liquid, we'll give it a clean up anyway, and just get rid of the years and years of finger cheese and sweat and grime and all that, and just make sure it's all nice and clean. So I had this part in soak as well. I just took it out just to for the turnover. I'm just using, this probably seems like quite an abrasive brush, but it's not too hardy harnessed. It's not too tough, and it just gets down into those grooves and gets all that grime out. I mean, let's face it, this thing is the best part of 35 years old probably. It's gonna have some grime. It's getting it all out now. Got a bit there. Okay, so the big question: what are we going to do about this? Well, I'm going to go away. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go away for a little while and see what we can discover online. Actually, do you know what? It's not. I don't think it. Oh no, yeah, it is. Yeah, I'm going to do a little bit of reading. We've got three options really. We can look online and try and find some more information about different substances that we can use. I don't know, sometimes we use a bit of WD-40 to get glue off, maybe that will work. Glue gun, that kind of thing. Our other option is a more abrasive a sponge, you know, a whiteout. What do you call them? You know, the really sort of not totally, but not wire wool style things, but you know, the sponges that people use to get stains off of crockery and that kind of thing, or some very light grade sandpaper. Perhaps we can use that. And you know what? Like I say, if all else fails, we've got another one. So for now, I'm going to give this a good dry. Make sure it's nice and dry before we start putting your boy back together. Okay, cool.
A few moments later.
Okay, so some time later, I've done a bit of reading online, and I think that I'm really reluctant to put any chemicals or anything like that, any extra sort of strength cleaning solutions onto these things. So what I've decided to do is I've decided to go with a little bit of the old elbow grease and use a bit of sandpaper. We're going to try some sandpaper first, but what I've done is prepped it using a bit of masking tape just to sort of protect the area around where the lens drops in, because we don't want any unsightly scratches or anything like that. I've got P80. The only reason I picked this one is because it's literally the first one I pulled out of the cupboard. I say the first, it's the only sandpaper I've got lying around. So I'm just going to try and gently, that little clicking noise you can hear is the dog, gently just working my way across it, and actually it seems to be doing not doing too bad. I'm going to give this a whiz. I'm going to speed it up because we want to see the results. You don't want to sit and watch me do this for 10 minutes. But we'll see how it goes. Right. It looks better than it did. I mean, does that mean it's any good? Who knows? But at least we can say it looks better than it did. Let's get this masking tape off, and then we'll get a better scope of what it looks like. I don't know, you probably noticed I added a little bit extra, and I was getting really conscious that I was scraping up the edges there. Do you know what? I reckon we're going to have to give this thing another bath in a minute as well. Get some of the masking tape glue off. Still, it's not too bad. Actually, it's yeah. Let's get our new lens, and we'll just drop it on top, and we'll see if it sits true, or whether it sits raised off of the shell. As you can probably tell, I appear to have misplaced the lens. Here, lens. Ah, here it is. Right. I mean, this is a high quality, as you can see. Right. So that it's got the gubbins on the back, but actually, it doesn't feel too bad. I always think there's a little bit of a lift anyway with these, especially with the glass ones. That actually doesn't feel too bad. I think we're going to leave it at that. I mean, I rub my fingers over it. I mean, I don't know. Maybe. No, I think we'll leave it at that. Right. So, now, the fun bits. We get to put her back together. Him, her, they, them. I have no preference. So the important thing to remember, as I've said before, is to make sure you do it all right first time, because the amount of times I have put a Game Boy back together like this and flipped it over and realised after I've screwed all 10 ruddy screws in that I forgot to put the buttons and these little moly things. What do you call them? Yeah. Drop me a comment. Educate me. Silicon? Are they silicon? I'm not sure. Anywho, right. So we've got screen in, speaker in, eventually. There we go. Give it a quick touch test. Feels good to me. Let's get these 10 screws in and we'll get them all put back together. Okay, now that's done. We have the motherboard to put in, and we're going to remember two things. Number one, we're going to remember our switch. Again, the amount of times I've put one of these back together and thought, no, I've not put the switch in. It's incredibly annoying. Quick wiggle test. And the other thing is we're going to remember to do on the other side is to put those battery connectors back in. But like I said, we can do that from the other side. I'm missing a screw. Oh dear. How is it I can work in one area and I'm not moved, really, but a screw has gone walkabouts? Of course, the other idea is I put one screw too many into the screen and completely destroyed it. Let's hope that's not the case. Luckily, I've got the old box of bits just over here. It's got roughly 1,000,000 Game Boy screws in, so we can steal one from there for now, and I'm sure it'll crop up later on, probably when I'm walking around barefoot and it sticks in. Right, so we've got the screws in. Now then, we need to make sure that we've got that one in there. I remember that was the one that was a little bit corroded. Not that it makes a massive difference, but just to make sure we get this right way around. Springy, springy. Springy, springy, springy. Cool. There we go. They're in all the way around. Right, last few steps. Here we go. We're going to get that... It's not screwed down. That's better. Okay, we're going to get this ribbon cable in. So, again, plenty of practice with these. Just sometimes they go in really easily, and sometimes you get a little corner bent over, it goes a bit wonky, and it just seems to take forever to get them in. I'll try and get sort of like just the far corner just in ever so slightly at an angle, and then you can tip her up. And no, not in. There we go. A little bit of resistance, but it went in. Okay, last few bits. Let's get the 6 tri-wing screws in. I'm going to be using a different screwdriver for this one. I'm going to pop these 4 in first, and then just sort of use both hands with the other 2. He says, 1, 2, 3, 4. I wish I knew how many times I'd done this, and I'm sure there's quite a few, and I'm sure there are people that have done it many more times than me. I suspect a friend of mine once said that his theory of the afterlife was that you are given a giant book that has got the statistics of everything that you've ever done in, the amount of steps you've taken, the amount of crisps you've eaten. I'm sure if that is the case, somewhere in there is number of Game Boys that I have put back together. Unfortunately, I don't think that number would marry up with the number of Game Boys that I've actually fixed. Hey ho. Okay, right. So, we're in. Let's pop the batteries in. 2, 3, 4 other brands of batteries are available. Oh, okay. So, we're on. We're not going to game in yet. Last thing we're going to do is we're going to get the lens on. So, again, I am definitely not an expert with these. I have sausage fingers, ham fingers, and I have a tendency just to put my mucky mitts all over these. Really trying to be careful to get it all off in one go without touching every little bit of it. Here we go. Right, we're off. And actually what I'm going to do, just one last time, just give this one last quick brush just to make sure that's all the bits off. Okay, moment of truth. Don't touch the glass. Like I said, I am terrible at getting these right first time. How do you do them? If you do these, let me know. Do you go from the side? Do you go from the top? Do you just drop? Oh. So this is rapidly becoming a video of how not to put a new lens on. Tell you what, we're just going to have to go for it fully off because it's getting in the way. And we're going to drop into place. I'll give it a little clean afterwards. Perhaps I'll even just use that to keep my mucky fingers off. And I'll tell you what, that feels pretty good. There is a tiny, tiny little lip. I think we get that with all the glass lenses because they are a little bit thicker, aren't they, than the traditional plastic ones. There's that sweet, sweet beep. A little bit of, tiny little bit just left in there. Tiny Toon Adventures. Here we go. Let's get that volume. Oh, Konami. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da. Okay. See, this is a video that I've looked at, a game that I looked at in my previous video when we did a review of these, so you may have seen some of this before. And I did mention on that one, I remember getting this game brand new, circa 1992, and what a game it is. So the sprites are beautiful. The music, everything about this game is just fantastic, and yeah. So I'm going to say bye for now. Not going to get hit in the face with an anvil. If you like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment. It's a quick plug. If you could do it, that would be amazing. Gives us a massive help with you know, keeping the channel going and things like that. Slowly starting to take some traction, so I'm very grateful for people that are watching the videos. As always, leave your comments. Yeah, tell me what you want to see. Tell me what you think about the videos. I can just about take it. Okay, so yeah, hope you've enjoyed it. Enjoy the rest of your day. See you later.